What's going on, YouTube? Warrior Football Brothers here. Today, I'm going to be coming out with my most recent mock draft. All right, so with the 25th overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select William Jackson III, cornerback out of Houston. Now, the reason why I like this pick is because our defense, our biggest Achilles heel on our defense, has been our cornerbacks for the past 3 or 4 years. William Jackson III is a tall, 6-foot-plus corner, about 190, probably going to get up to 200 pounds by the time the season starts. Corner who has tremendous ball skills and mirrors the defenseman perfectly. I have seen mock drafts where he's even going as high as 8 to the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't think that's going to happen. He's going to drop the first round. So, personally, I think we're going to go William Jackson III. Another option, we could go first round. And I think the only other option we should go with for first round is if Andrew Billings is still there at 25. We need to pick him up. With us getting rid of Steve McClendon, we have absolutely no talent on that defensive tackle, quote-unquote nose guard position. I mean, sure, Daniel McCullers we got last year, but he's nothing special. 1 and 2, with Andrew Billings can give you that dual threat athlete. He is a quick, athletic, handsy defensive tackle who is a pass rusher first and a run stopper second, because he's over 315 pounds. He's a huge guy who, coming out of high school, broke all sorts of records in powerlifting. So he's a strong defensive tackle as well. Plus, Mike Tomlin and Mean Joe Green went to Baylor's pro day to look at this kid, and Mean Joe Green loved him. He said he had a lot of fight, a lot of feistiness in him, and he loved that. And we need that back on the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive line. We need to get that pass rush back to the way it was, because that's what won us Super Bowls for so many years. Okay, so in the second round, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to address their safety position, in my opinion. Excuse me, safety or wide receiver. And let me explain why I say wide receiver second. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers second round picking up, if he falls, Braxton Miller, wide receiver / running / quarterback. Hell, he's an offensive weapon for all 3 of those main positions, minus tight end, for Ohio State, and he would be a hell of a football player for the Pittsburgh Steelers. With Martavis Bryant's suspension for the entire year, I know we have some okay wide receivers like Darius Hayward-Bay, like Marcus Wheaton, like Sammy Coates. But the issue that I have with those players, one, Darius Hayward-Bay has a lot of consistency issues, in my opinion. I'm sure he's a great player, great wide receiver, but he's not our number 2 wide receiver. Marcus Wheaton, same thing with him. Consistency is a huge issue. And we really need somebody to take the attention off of Antonio Brown enough that Ben Roethlisberger that has more talents, that Ben isn't getting sacked every game. Because they're going to start to double Antonio Brown because Martavis Bryant's out. So, like I said with Wheaton, he's okay. He's more of an inside slot-ish wide receiver for those quick routes, like Antonio Brown would be if he moved to the inside. He's just an athletic wide receiver. He can play wherever. And Sammy Coates, we haven't really seen a whole heck of a lot with Sammy Coates. I'm really high on Sammy Coates. I believe Sammy Coates can beat out both Darius Hayward-Bay and Marcus Wheaton for that second position on the other side of Antonio Brown. I said it here, and I'm going to keep saying it until preseason and see what he does. This kid is a monster. When he played for Auburn, he had some of the best catches I've ever seen in my entire life. He reminds me so much of a Randy Moss or a Terrell Owens for so many years, creating those splash plays, but also being able to go up and get the football. He's a tall, athletic wide receiver. So, Braxton Miller could play wildcat for us if we needed to. He could play wide receiver and still have a hell of a season with the Steelers, because Ben Roethlisberger would love to throw it to him. He's a quick wide receiver that knows what he's doing for so many years. He was a quarterback, but in that quarterback position, he always scrambled. He was more of a running back, scrambling quarterback. It reminded me a lot of Michael Vick when he was playing quarterback for those 2 years. So I think we should pick up Braxton Miller, second round, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Now is the time to really address our safety position. Okay, so we know Will Allen is still a free agent, and he would be okay to come back. 1, he's a bit of an injury risk, and 2, he's getting old. Here's how I see the Pittsburgh Steelers going about our safety position. Now, I have said for so many mock drafts that we would pick up Su'a Cravens, safety/outside linebacker out of USC. And I am still extremely high on him and would love to pick him up second round. I would love to pick up Su'a Cravens. He is a athletic, physical safety. He reminds me a lot of Troy Polamalu. But I'm not going to talk a heck of a lot about him. Who I'm going to really talk about is a safety out of Duke. His name is Jeremy Cash. Jeremy Cash reminds me a lot of a Cam Chancellor, safety for the Seattle Seahawks. Very hard-hitting safety, but also has excellent ball skills. He hits between the numbers, so he's not going to get a whole heck of a lot of penalties for leading with the head. He's not going to get a whole heck of a lot of unnecessary roughness. But he could also play inside as a linebacker, come up on those third downs, 3rd down and 2, 3rd down and 3, 3rd down and 1, and help the defense stuff the teams in the AFC West, the entire NFL, the AFC in general, and help us get back to that hard-hitting Steeler defense. Because, to be honest with you, for so many years we've been huge on our defense. Past couple of years, we've kind of dropped off, and we've been considered quote-unquote pussies. So we need to get our defense back to the way it was. That's why I love Jeremy Cash, safety out of Duke. He also went to Ohio State and then transferred, just like Noah Spence transferred because he wasn't allowed to play for Ohio State anymore after his whole drug issue, which is a whole nother story. But Jeremy Cash, 3rd round, strong safety out of Duke. Now, Steeler Nation, is the time in the 4th round to pick up, I believe, a huge sleeper in this 2016 NFL draft. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting in the 4th round Sheldon Day, defensive tackle / nose guard out of Notre Dame. This kid has such a high motor and played with such athleticism for Notre Dame that he was in the backfield almost every single play. He is probably one of the most exciting defensive tackles to watch in this draft besides Andrew Byrd or A'Shawn Robinson. I'm not a big fan of Jerron Reed though. Sheldon Day would fill the void of Steve McClendon leaving to play for the Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And like I said, he would pretty much have a year to try and get it underneath his belt because we're going to be running a lot of nickel defense, which is, like I said earlier in the video, less of the effect of the defensive tackle, the nose guard, but more the effect of the outside rush and then the linebackers coming into the inside. So, Sheldon Day, defensive tackle, Notre Dame. attention, attention, sleeper pick on alert with the Pittsburgh Steelers 6th round compensatory pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers select Emmanuel Graves, defensive end / outside linebacker out of Colorado Mines. This kid, I am surprised he's not going earlier. I know he's from a Division II school, but this kid, I will tell you right now, is a younger, faster James Harrison. And you know how much we rely on James Harrison to make those big plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. This kid is probably going to be also one of the strongest outside linebackers in this draft. He was squatting 600 pounds at Colorado Mines. He was cleaning 355 pounds at Colorado Mines. And he was benching 315 for 12 at Colorado Mines. This kid is an absolute monster, and he's a total sleeper. Just like I say, Victor Ochi out of Stony Brook, defensive end, is a sleeper. He's going to get into the backfield every single play. And this kid will be such a good replacement for James Harrison if he decides not to come back this season, which I hope he does. And in that case, he can kind of mentor under James Harrison for a year or two. Now that's out of the way. This kid, if you watch him on tape, there's not a whole heck of a lot of him on tape, but he has so many honors for Defensive Lineman of the Year, Linebacker of the Year in Division II. This kid is going to be a Pro Bowler in the next 5 or 6 years in the NFL if he develops. With that being said, that's really all I have to say about Emmanuel Graves. We need help on that. The pass rush linebacker core, because Travis Jones, even though he was a first round pick, he was a dud. He hasn't done shit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bud Dupree has promise. I've seen Bud Dupree out in the field, and I love what I'm seeing out of Bud Dupree. With him, and he is such an athletic player that he's going to be able to play any position, really. We need help on those outside linebacker positions. Get rid of Jarvis Jones and bring in Emmanuel Graves, outside linebacker, Colorado Mines. Big play, VA. 7th round, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Vernon Adams Jr. out of Oregon. This kid, I'm sorry I keep saying kid, this football player, this athlete, has so many talents on his disposal. Even though he is a smaller quarterback, I think he's like 5'10", 5'11", he has the ability to escape the pocket, to extend the play, to get that extra pass in, that extra second in, to bomb the ball down the field. He also has incredible instincts. If he knows that the Pittsburgh Steelers running game isn't going well, and he knows that it's going to be a blitz, and Le'Veon Bell or D'Angelo Williams is going to be supposed to be running his ball, and he sees that's not going to go well, he'll pull it out, extend the play, and get it down the field to somebody like Antonio Brown, Sammy Coates, hopefully Braxton Miller. Big play, VA. Not much else to say about him. 7th round, last pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Lloyd Lockdown Carrington, cornerback out of Arizona State University. Plain and simple, we need depth. This kid can develop into being maybe a backup to William Gay, but don't need him as a starter right away. If we do pick up the guys that I say in the first couple of rounds, we won't need him right away.